everyone. My name is Troy, and welcome back to the Rooted for Growth podcast. It's a podcast all about being more rooted in Christ and ready to grow in the things that He has called you to. This is episode 10, and it's called The Axe. This is about cutting away what's keeping you from growing. I want to start off with a personal story. Back in 1997, when I just graduated from high school, I got accepted into the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I was accepted in a band scholarship. I was with the Pride of the Southland Marching Band, and I went there in July to start the band camp process and doing all the formations, learning all the drills to do their halftime performances for their football team. The year was 1997. It was Peyton Manning's senior year at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. There was this big media push wondering if he was going to go to the NFL or not, and he decided he was going to stay with the University of Tennessee for his senior year and go through that year. So it's an exciting time for the University of Tennessee. I went to band camp. I was there for about a month and a half during that process of getting things going with the band camp. And it came to time for school to start and then time for the opening football game. For that football game, I invited my grandfather, who raised me, as well as my girlfriend at the time, to come up and stay in Knoxville and go to the football game. I didn't realize, being a new student and not being very much into football at that time of my life, how important it was to get tickets to the game well in advance. I did not get any tickets for them, could not get any tickets the week of the game, so they ended up having to sit in my dorm room and watch the football game on my little TV in my dorm room while I was actually marching in the game just about a quarter of a mile away. So very interesting. On the way home from that, first of all, that was an amazing experience to be there on the field, marching with that band in that stadium. It was just incredible experience. Came back to the dorm room, met back up with my girlfriend and my grandfather, grabbed some stuff to head home for the weekend. It was a long weekend, first long weekend of the year. It was Labor Day, I guess, right around that Labor Day weekend. So packed up my stuff, headed back home. And as we're driving back home, me and my girlfriend in my car and following my grandfather, I remember my girlfriend looking at me and saying, it's wonderful. The school is wonderful. It's really, really fantastic. It's just too big. I could never go here. But I'm glad that you're getting this experience. I could never go here. I remember thinking at that moment, riding in my little Toyota pickup truck, heading back from Knoxville back to Hermitage, Tennessee, which is about a 3.5 hour drive from there. I remember thinking, I need to change this. Like, this needs to change. Because I had already made up my mind that this girl who I was sitting next to was going to be my wife. Later on, that next year, I was going to ask her to be my wife, and we were going to get married. I knew this in my heart, and I didn't want anything to get in the way of that. So after coming home for that weekend, spending a nice long weekend with family, and then heading back to Knoxville on that Tuesday after Labor Day, I got back to Knoxville, and I withdrew from all of my classes. And I transferred to Vol State, a community college down the road from where I was living at, so that I could be back at home, close to my grandfather and close to my girlfriend. And then I would readjust, go to Vol State for a year, and then transfer to another university that was one that my girlfriend would be going to. And I did that because I knew that that's where my life was headed. I wanted her to be in my life. I wanted her to be my wife. And so I moved away from something good, which was my experience at the University of Tennessee, to something that was going to be great, which was going to become my marriage with my wife. That's a picture of how we need to evaluate things in our life. the good things. And, sometimes those good things, we don't even recognize that they are getting in the way of better things in our life. And some of those hardest cuts that we have to do in our life are the things that are good in order to move into something that's more great. There's this wonderful book by Jim Collins called Good to Great. And there's this quote in there that says, "Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice and discipline." It's the ability to look at those things that's going on in your life, the things that are good, and make a conscious choice to remove those good things in order to move towards great things. He also says good is the enemy of great. Our lives can be full of things that are good, but how many of those good things are just cluttering up the way of the great things that God has for you? In today's message, John 15:2 stands out, and it's every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. It's talking about a pruning process, comparing our lives to that of a tree, and a tree that might be losing life on one side, or a branch might be losing life, and God will come and he'll prune that away so that the tree itself will be fuller and healthier and grow more vibrant in him. Hebrews 12:11 says, "Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous." This is not a fun experience. It wasn't fun for me to evaluate, am I going to walk away from that opportunity with the University of Tennessee? Not many people get that opportunity. Lots of people know who the pride of the Southland Marching Band is, and I have the ability to say that I marched with them and that I marched on Neyland Stadium. In fact, it's one of the fun things that I used to say at work when they would say, tell us something, like the two truths and a lie thing. One of the things that I would say is, I shared a field with Peyton Manning. And so people, when you put that out there and they don't know who said it and they're trying to figure out who it is, they're always looking for a big football player guy. But that wasn't me. I was in the marching band. So it's a very neat aspect, and it's something that people recognize and they know. But making the decision to move away from that was hard. It was difficult, but I knew that God had something greater for me in this relationship. Galatians 2:20 says, "I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live." So each one of these decisions might feel so painful and feel like, man, I'm really getting rid of something that I have cherished. But God has better things for us, and he is with us in that. And Luke 3:9 says, "And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees." The picture of cutting away those things that is not being fruitful, that's growing you towards Christ. I picture this as decluttering. It's decluttering your life. There's lots of things going on in your schedule, lots of things that's pulling at your attention. How can you declutter things that's going on in your life? Kind of like removing things from a closet. Closet gets over full at a certain point. You have to start pulling some things out. Those things were good things, but you need to make room for some better things. I remember one time I was trying to clean out some of our closets around here, and as I was cleaning out this closet, I came across this item, and next thing I know, it's 3 hours later, and I'm emotionally attached now to this Letterman jacket that I haven't worn since 1997. It's just taking up space in my closet. Is it something good? It definitely was at the time. Letterman jackets were really good back in high school, wearing that Letterman jacket. I remember my wife would wear that as my girlfriend, wearing that Letterman jacket. Lots of memories with that. But it's now just taking up space in a closet. It's not something great. It's not something that's moving my life forward. It's not something that is drawing me closer to my relationships or to God in an everyday aspect. It's just taking up space. That's also the case in our digital life. Think about social media. Now, social media can be very beneficial. It can keep you in touch with family members. If you're running a business, social media is basically a necessity. But social media can also be a big distraction. Something that you can look at and say, I'm just gonna look at this for a few minutes every night before I go to bed. Well, next thing you know, you're having to look at it every night in order to go to bed. And sometimes you're looking at it for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And next thing you know, you're like, why haven't I gone to sleep yet? I'm just mindlessly scrolling. It can slowly erode your time and your relationships. There's this great book called Feels Like Redemption by Seth Taylor. I encourage you to read it. It's about addictions, and specifically it's about pornography addictions. But there is this quote in there that applies to this moment of things that's pulling you away. It says, as old addictions fall away and a new fire is lit, the individual realizes that God's love is supernaturally changing him from the inside out. This is what surrendering something like that looks like. He's here referring to an addiction. You can refer that to anything that's in your life that you would consider as good or as things that you're spending your time on, and look at that to remove that, and you will feel this new fire lit to draw you closer to Christ as that healing happens and as that relationship begins to mend back together. So here's some reflection for you. What are you holding on to that God may be asking you to cut away? This is a time to evaluate what's going on in your life, what's going on in your schedule, what's pulling you away from that closeness with Christ, and start asking the question, Lord, is this something that I should walk away from? Is this something that I should limit in order to spend more time with you? That's the ultimate goal here, is to grow closer with Christ and remove those things that are stumbling blocks or are time sucks, things that's taking you away from that closeness with Christ. Remember, though, that even as you're cutting these things away, you're still not abandoned. He's there cutting with you. He's there evaluating those things with you. He understands that these might have been really good things. These might have been noble things that you have put into your life at one point that really had good meaning, but now they're pulling you in a different direction that He wants you to go. He's there with you to help prune those things from your life. And remember that God prunes what He loves. Think about it as a rose bush. My grandfather used to plant rose bushes in the front yard, had these beautiful roses. He would cut them off and make these beautiful arrangements out of them. And you think about that process of, as a gardener looking at a rose bush, they see these beautiful blooms all over it, and those are the ones that they cut. They come in and they see those beautiful blooms, and those are good, beautiful blooms, and they cut those off from the rest of the bush. And the reason why, ultimately, the reason why they are cutting those off is to create more life coming from that plant. And that's what God is helping you do in your life. He's looking for those good things, those beautiful blooms that's in your life, that's taking up the space. And He's removing a few of those with you in order to have more life grow from yourself. So as you think about that, just remember, it's not the end of something. Don't think of it as the end of something. Think of it as the beginning of something new. This good thing that bloomed from your life at one point was there at that season when it needed to be there. And it was beautiful. But now it's time to prune that away so that something else beautiful can come in its place. Whether that be something that God is calling you to on a regular basis, whether that be a closer relationship with your wife, with your spouse, with your kids. Maybe it's something that church is calling you to, something that God is laying on your heart to move forward, of starting a new friendship or starting a new business venture or starting a new Sunday school class or whatever that might be. How do you prune those things away with God's help in order to create that space for something new and beautiful to step in? So my encouragement to you this week is, ask God, what is in your life that's good, but it's keeping you from something great? And ask for the strength and He'll provide you that strength to remove that good thing and open up your possibilities for great things. I hope this has been an encouragement to you. I pray for you this week that you are able to seek out those things in your life that you can remove in order to bring closeness with other relationships and bring a space for something great to bloom in its spot. If this has been an encouragement to you, I would encourage you to share it with someone else who you think needs to hear this, or someone that you think would benefit from this message. Please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. You can follow me at Whitman Collective at Instagram. You can also go to Facebook, Whitman Collective, and find me there as well. Love if you would like and follow and do all the things that you can do for that. I love the support. I look for your comments. I would love to hear from you on how you like the podcast, if you like the video format and where that's going. If there are certain topics that you would like to hear me discuss in future episodes, I'd love to hear that as well. Drop a comment or send me a message. I read every single one of those, so please do that. I look forward to that. Rate, review, all the things. Until next time, though, stay rooted together, and trust God to move you towards something great. Have a great week. See you next time.